Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody, to the Midnight Mandela Show. Sorry, I missed last week. I was out of town. I did leave a comment on the whatever that is, the discussion section. But I had planned to go on Tuesday night instead, but I just couldn't get it together. I had too much to do. I was way behind. Work was really busy. I hadn't camped in eons, so there was a lot to do. So my apologies. I'll try to cover everything this week. It was a good trip. Did definitely see some Mandelas while I was on the trip. So this is a location I go to about once a year for the last 15 years, maybe. Quartzsite, Arizona. I covered some of this last year, but the changes to the freeways continue on. So basically, to get there, I head up the 15. Now, it used to be you could go either the 215 or the 15, and you still technically can, but they would kind of hit sort of similar up here. The 15 seemed a little longer, maybe, but it wasn't a huge difference. But now you'd be an idiot if you didn't go on the 215. There's some kind of weird thing going here. The 215 used to lead right into the 10, but now there's like a weird interchange here that didn't used to exist. So once you got up to here, I would usually take the 215, and then you had a choice of either taking the 60 or going straight to the 10. Didn't have this weird interchange here. The distance was not a huge difference between the distance. So basically, it'd be a tiny bit longer taking the 10 up, the 215 up to the 10, but the 60 was super twisty turny. But the 60 used to be like down here, it would cut across to the 10. Now, last year I covered that it didn't cut across very much. Now it's merged with the 10. It's straight across now. So basically, the 10 looks like the 60 is the 10, and then up here is where the 10 really continues. So it's weird. The 60 used to cut across to the 10. Now it is just in line with the 10. So that's a big difference for me. It's been changing the last 2 years. Also, the 10 really kind of sags down quite a bit. So when I come up to here, and then across here, some kind of side route through here is looking a lot better than it used to look. Okay, so anyway, yes, changes in the freeways there. Also, when I got over to Quartzsite, let's see if it shows on this map. Okay, so I believe that. So it used to be there's two exits for Quartzsite. I think this third exit here used to be two exits, one on each end of Quartzsite, here and here. I believe last year I first saw the third exit, which is not the 95. It's called Center. See where I can find that. Maybe it's over here. Central. That's it. Okay, so it's this thing. They're calling it, so the 95 used to be this little road that went through, but it didn't access the freeway. It didn't access the 10. It would kind of just go under it. If you wanted to get on here, if you wanted to get on the 95, you had to get off over here or over here, drive through town, and then get on the 95. And basically, this is like a freeway. They call it a freeway, but it's really a two-lane road. Or, well, I haven't been on it this year, but it used to be a two-lane road. But now there's this additional on-off ramp. But weirdly, it doesn't really show that you can just go from the 10 onto the central, but you can now. I don't know. It's weird. So basically, there's this additional one through town. A couple other things. We were out. We tend to camp out. We just camp out in the desert, basically, over here somewhere usually. And my friend was there. This time, only one friend was with me, and this at one of the nights, the moon came up shortly after dark, and I just thought it was really interesting because my friend's about 10 years older than I am. She loves camping. She goes outside a lot her whole life. And the moon came up over the behind the mountains, and she was kind of freaked out because the moon, not only was it reddish as it so often is these days when it's near the horizon, but it was like a bowl shape. So it was sort of like rounded on the bottom and flat on the top, like a rice bowl. And so she's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, look at the moon. It's so weird. Look at the shape, blah, blah, blah." So it comes up like a bowl now. And then, as you guys know, it now like spins over time. But she apparently had never seen it come up looking like a bowl in all of her many decades of life, which seems highly unlikely. So anyways, that was another Mandela type of experience. I just thought it was really interesting because I know the bowl shaped thing is new. But she doesn't really follow the Mandela. She doesn't know any of that stuff. She doesn't really believe in it. But yet she noticed also that the Mandela was that the moon was not looking normal. So anyway, overall it was a fairly uneventful trip. Bought lots of stuff. Probably exceeded the payload capacity of my truck by like 2 times. But luckily I have upgraded suspension, so it survived the story. Weird thing happened on, was that Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. Not super weird right away, but my battery died and I couldn't jump it, and I had to call AAA, and he towed me to Blythe. But what was hilarious about it is that my friend had seen that there was a specialty store in Blythe, and she had really thought about going to that specialty store earlier in the trip, and then she decided it was just too much of a hassle to drive all the way to Blythe. So it turned out that by the time I got picked up by AAA, it was late enough in the day that only one location was left to buy a battery, and that was AutoZone. So he told me to AutoZone, and we pulled into the parking lot, and that specialty store was in the exact same strip mall as AutoZone. So she ended up going to her store while I got my new battery. So just kind of one of those weird coincidences. I mean, Blythe is not the world's largest town, but it is not small either. So it was just, I don't know, kind of strange. I mean, you can see there's a lot of Gridworks and stores in here. So it was just weird. It's one of those weird things. It was just kind of one of those weeks. But overall, yes, very fun. A little bit tired. Okay, so I'm going to get on to the Mandelas. And I didn't even say hi to everybody. So hi, everybody. Oh, somebody gave me $10. Woohoo! Off to a good start. I don't even know who it is. Mystery person. Thank you for the $10. I actually was just so behind. I was so behind on work because I was gone for 6 days that I got here really late, and I put up the notification for the show really late, and that's probably why a lot of people aren't here. Jumping ships in, Shari D, Preliminal. David Kent, Shari, welcome, welcome, welcome. Heart's Truth is in. So basically, if I don't put up notification early, then the notifications are really slow to go out, so people just don't know about it. I hope you all had a good New Year's. We basically were just out in the desert. Some people did shoot off some fireworks, although the camping out there was very sparse compared to what I'm used to. And Della's in. Florida's changing a lot. Yes, all the states Hope the borderlines don't change or we may wake up as Canadian or Mexican jumping ship. I think what it's doing is the borderlines do change, but you get pushed along into your own country. So, you know, you will be pushed away if the border has to be there. So there won't be any drastic changes for you. I told you guys in December my Samsung washing machine changed the end song of it. January 1st, the missing song came back. Part of Lower Japan just totally changed. Ooh, I'll have to check. Futuristic $10. You are the one. Thank you. So many Evas in the multiverse, all fun to watch. Thank you. You know, I did notice like today I was looking in the mirror, putting some lip balm on, and I feel like my face has changed a lot since, well, not a lot, but since I left. Like it just looks longer a little bit, and my lip, it just looks like my lower lip's gotten bigger and my upper lip has gotten smaller. I didn't used to have like I kind of have like a narrow upper lip now, and that just wasn't the case before. Like I'm looking at myself now, and it feels like my lower lip is just like pouting out. But no, that's the shape my lip is now, I guess. It's kind of weird. Yeah, well, Saved by Grace is in. I'm more like worn out than well rested. I usually just shop till I drop. I'm buying stuff for the store. I bought 1,100 pounds of stuff. So that's why, even though I have kind of a beefy truck, it was quite overloaded. I had so many boxes in there that I had to remove some of them every time I went to sleep. So I would take out some of the boxes and lay it to the side of the truck so I could unfurl the sleeping area. Hold on to your seatbelts for Japan. Meat doesn't taste good that anymore, and I'm having trouble digesting it. All right, so yeah, we've covered that. So now that we are at Google, it is a good time to check out Japan. Just kind of taking a quick gander here. That area continues to expand the water area over here by Vancouver, taking a larger and larger notch out of Washington. The bottom of California is getting kind of tipped. Didn't used to have this zag thing here. I think also that Texas keeps sliding over. I don't know if Mexico's getting fatter or something, but Texas didn't used to be so far away from California. I don't know, something's going on with Texas. Just kind of looking around. Okay, let me shrink it down some more and we'll go over to Japan. So yeah, it looks like those islands are really fat down there. Like right here looks really fat. This looks really fat. Like over here is just inflated. It looks like. Wait, it's all connected over here. Whoa. These were like islands. They're all connected now. Look at that. Holy cats. Yeah, these were all like connected. Okay, so that area was like a separate area. This was a separate area. There was water there. Um, Dang, yes, it has changed a lot. That's a pretty big shift. I'm not sure exactly when that happened, but it's fairly recent. Oh, so Japan is kind of just getting more territory. Check that out. Yeah, look, it's all connected in here. There was a bunch of like littler, not a bunch, but they were some, these were separated here, definitely. Wow. Yes, good find. Very good find. Preliminal, very good find. Fukushima is still in meltdown. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I was wondering about what Neat Input would say. Does he notice this, or is he just a different version of him that remembers that? Yes, my goodness, Japan. It's just fat. And this area here. Ooh, are we jamming up? Come on. Internet's been terrible today, both work and here. Rebooted the computer multiple times. This area is huge in here. Look at that. Look at that. All right, let me just pull back and see what else we see. Oh, it's jammed again. UK looks bigger than last time I checked. It's really fat right here. So look at UK, especially this bottom area. The surface area, when you count Ireland, is like as big as France now. UK used to be smaller and way out there. I mean, literally like this, just Ireland was like more like the proportion of the size of that whole area in France. So either all of this is shrinking or UK is getting bigger. Let's see what's going on up here. I mean, this is all changing, but nothing really obviously different from last time I looked. Madagascar still getting bigger. India still getting smaller. Turkey's looking big. Kazakhstan, humongous. Look at Kazakhstan is almost like the size of all of Europe now. I mean, Europe's only a tiny bit bigger than Kazakhstan. Craziness, just craziness. Iran, huge. Iran used to be pretty tiny. Let's see what else. Who had it on? I was going to cover that. The time zones in here are all messed up. They're really super weird. Who had that on? I saw it on one of the other shows that kind of covered that. I've covered the goofy time zones before, but I didn't really zoom in on right there and just see how weird they are. Let's see. So I don't even think I remembered to write it down, but where I saw that. So what's weird are the islands above. Let me see if I can find those. I think it was UAP, one of UAP's channels. He's got multiple channels. And he covered the weirdness above. Here we go. The time zone weirdness above Australia. Oop. Not working. Let's try. try here. I don't think that really covers it though. Hopefully it hasn't. Hopefully it hasn't changed since last time I checked it. Here. All right. Okay, so I've talked about before how I really think that this area is heavily in flux, and when you start looking at it, it doesn't really make sense. So, like, why is this area here not the same as all the blue around it? Why is this not +8? Shouldn't it go straight up here? Then you've got plus 9.5. I've mentioned before that I didn't have half time zones, like half-hour time zones in my old timeline. Why is Australia cut right there? But even more so, why does this cut not match up with that cut? Why are all these in the yellow time zone plus 10? But here is the 9.5. Why don't more islands go into the 9.5 time zone to be a straight line over here? Then you've got a whole bunch of weird stuff going on here. These ones here, I think this is what, plus 12? So we've got plus 12 going around here, but the ones in the middle are other time zones. Why is Kiribati included with the colors over here? I mean, this doesn't. Then we got more plus 10s over here to go with that. I mean, what the heck? Okay, so I don't know. It's just weird that everything is crazy here. So there's absolutely no logic to these time zones up here, hardly. And I think it's because these are just spawning and spreading, and the time zones aren't able to change as fast as the shifts. And that's why I think one thing we might be able to do to see what areas are changing the most rapidly is to possibly to look at the time zones, and the more funky they are in that area, maybe the more shifty that area has been recently. In fact, let's just look at the Japan time zones and see. Just out of curiosity, if that holds up at all. Time zones, Japan. Are they all in the same? Okay, here we go. Boink. Okay, so it looks like Japan's all one time zone. That's not that weird a concept. But, all right, this doesn't make much sense either. So, Japan has one time zone it's sharing with South Korea. But above it here is plus 11. So why wouldn't the area above be the same time zone as Japan? Of course, this would make more sense if Japan used to be further this way, right around here. Look, there's a plus 9 over here and a plus 9 over here. Plus 8. What the hell? Okay. So So the time zones here are totally insane. I mean, they used to be like, this is nuts. Okay, this is nuts. Look at how non-striped it is. View image. Just to get more of it. So here and here are one time zone, but here is the same time zone as there. And I don't know, it's just crazy. You look over here, it's starting to normalize. This is interesting here that the yellow stretches way over. Because I really feel like this area has stretched out a lot. So I think the yellow used to be more of a regular stripe, but as this has pulled out, it has pulled the time zone with it. So yeah, anyways, that's just one of my theories, and it seems to be holding up. Japan looks insane as far as time zones. Some of this, what is going on over here with Russia? Why doesn't Russia just have straight lines? This is just weird. So yeah, it looks like Japan might have been further over here, and the time zone would have made more sense. Anyway, I haven't even started on... Speaking of Australia, did you hear Crocodile Dundee has a new movie out called Mr. Dundee, released in December 2020. No spoilers. Nope. No. I wonder how the time zones look on a flat Earth map. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, the time zones, especially in America, used to be very close to striped. Why was Tatario on the news? I didn't know it was on the news. Okay, so for me, last I heard they were still dumping water on Fukushima. I was watching the news and it had Tataria on it. Interesting, what'd they say? They were just still dumping water on it, trying to keep it cool. Last I heard they didn't have a solution, so let's see what's going on. Fukushima today. What is the current situation? Nuclear fuel and storage pools is being stably cooled and is believed not to have been significantly damaged. Is reactor 4 still burning? Yeah, okay. So last I heard they were just still dumping water on it. I guess now magically it's fixed. So they were just dumping, and the water was still streaming into the ocean. And that's last I heard, actually. There was a full meltdown in my old timeline. Okay, so yeah, if they fixed it, yeah, I don't remember hearing about them fixing it. All right, so I'm gonna get busy on some stuff here. Close Google Maps. All right, ran into this one about a week and a half ago. Just how dark were the Dark Ages? After the fall of the Roman Empire, Europe wasn't quite the horrible and backward place earlier historians would have you believe. Modern scholars now look at the Dark Ages in a whole new light. So now they're saying the Dark Ages weren't that dark. Even the term the Dark Ages has fallen out of use among serious researchers due to some of the implications and assumptions made by those who first propagated its use. It's actually one of the most fascinating and vibrant periods about which we are discovering new knowledge every year. The phrase is deeply steeped in the 19th century Western European idea that some civilizations are superior to others, which today sounds very difficult to hear. Ah, so you're just racist. The Dark Ages are just a racist term now. That ought to kill it off. Okay, anyways, I find that highly suspicious. All that time, it was all just a racist attitude, the Dark Ages. Okay. One root. So this one is by Thomas Larson. He doesn't remember any human teeth having just the one root. Like this without the hole. He remembers it all having two or more roots. I agree with him on that. I used to actually sell human teeth, the ones that were extracted for dental procedures, back when I could still get them. They sold really good. And they all had like two roots or more. Animal teeth had the one root, but not human teeth. The other thing I've really noticed about teeth over the last 5 years is the roots are growing longer and longer. And then the kind of the enamel part is getting a little bit smaller, but mostly the roots are just really long now. Okay, so this is more like the tooth I would normally see would be the two root tooth, sometimes 3 or 4 roots. I never saw a one root tooth until recently, and before that I only saw it like in coyotes and stuff. So, yeah, there just wasn't. So I agree with Thomas Larson on that. Okay, next one. This one was found by Remy Rodriguez. A new change to Rosie the Riveter. I'll pull it up. What do you see on Rosie the Riveter that looks different? The older Emmys, she looks younger and less muscular. But there's a recent one that, well, this is an interesting, no, I'm not going to click on that. So what do you notice? What do you notice? Anything different? Noma's D was talking about intestine changes on Scarab Channel. Okay, I'm going to take a quick glance at that. See if I see anything. I mean, there's a lot of older intestines, anatomy. Like I'm going to click intestine changes and find them. Okay. I haven't looked at these in a while. I would definitely say that the swoop of this large intestine going up has increased. It goes way up now. Look, it's the stomach is here. The intestine actually rises up higher than the stomach. That was not the case before. It doesn't show in all of the images, but I did not see any images with it swooping up that high before. So the stomach is like half into the intestines now. Oh, that's interesting. This area here is kind of strange. I mean, originally it was a nice stacked thing. There seems to be a lot of space in between these intestines now, at least in that image. I have to say, I've never seen this kind of an image before. Arteries of small intestine, blood supply, small and large. Interesting. Look at that. There's all right, let's just do intestines only without typing. Anatomy. I would say this area here keeps getting larger. This this system is larger. This is an interesting image because I haven't seen it. I mentioned maybe a year ago this kind of strip in the middle had really expanded. It's almost, they're all looking so bumpy divided here. Now, originally, I did not have these weird bumpy patterns on the large intestine. The bumps seem to be very much exaggerated here compared to other images, and it's the first I've seen that it looks like that. I don't know if I'm covering what he covered, but that's basically what I'm seeing. So this rectum area, bigger, the transverse colon, the large intestine swooping up higher on the one side. Let me know if I've covered it. What else? Have I missed anything? The emblem on her collar. Yes, that is the correct answer I was looking for. Her arm looks slightly more muscular, polyminal. My original girl was older, like middle-aged, with a really muscular arm. So for me, the current one has less. But yeah, David Kent's got it, the collar button. I totally agree. I do think her face has squared off a little since last I've looked. Her jaw looks a little bigger. The nose looks a little different. But yes, the button. The only other thing I would say is there's this big curl of hair here. I don't remember the hair quite looking like that. I remember just being a little bit of a hair here, not a big curl of it. But yes, the button. The button is the magic answer. Don't remember it. So the dim ages. I don't know. It's in flux. I don't know what they're going to come up with. All right. So what else? What did he say about the intestines? The end piece of colon is so thick and big now. Yeah. What did whoever it was that you just said covered it? What did he say about it? I'm curious. Japan seems like it will connect with South Korea. That would be interesting. Sea of Japan turned to Lake of Japan. The white part is a button. Yeah, she's got a big button on her collar, and it looks like the button is an image of her. So it's kind of weird because it looks like it's her face on this button. Let me see if I can zoom in enough to really see it. Will the real Rosie, the riveter, please stand up? Yeah. Kind of an interesting title. They're looking for the one who inspired it, but all right, so what I'm trying to figure out is what is that button? It's definitely a face of like a woman. Westinghouse Electric looks like what that image is. It says Westinghouse Electric and maybe a date under there. Is that the Westinghouse Electric logo? So I'm going to check the Westinghouse Logopedia. All right, it has a circular logo, but not of a woman. Well, electricity may be going backwards in time, and maybe that's why it's on there. Interesting though. I don't remember there being a I don't remember there being any product associated with her. So did she work at Westinghouse Electric now? Naomi Parker punched in as her usual mechanic job at Naval Air Station. Okay, so is she supposed to be the model? Then if so, why is it Westinghouse Electric? I don't know. Interesting though. Ooh, jamming up again, are we? The eyes are slanty. Yeah, I don't know. She looks a little more petulant. Her face looks it looks a little more pissed than determined. I think she looked a little more just confident. Now she looks a little like she's angry. So yeah, just a little bit different. Weird place to put something like that on a uniform. It has to be a union logo. Yeah, I don't know. Rosie looks pissed off. Yeah, exactly. Shari, she didn't look angry before. She just looked determined. New Zealand seems like it's running away with some of the island around it. Did she always lean back? I'm not sure on that one. She might be leaning back a little. All right, now I got to go back to the map. And look at New Zealand. Load. All right. Should be about there. New Zealand. New Zealand's coming up closer to Australia slowly. The space between the two sections of New Zealand's getting larger. I don't remember those originally being two islands, but that's a pretty old ME. Still waiting for that split at Auckland, but it's not here yet. Ooh, close, close. Still, yeah, about a mile. Nope, has not. I keep thinking that that's going to split off, but it has not happened yet. What a trip if that one splits off. Okay. It does seem like that's gotten a little bit bigger there. This island down here, what is that? That's gotten pretty big. What are they calling that island? Stewart Island, Rockiura. Huh. Yeah, okay. Sure thing. This is a huge button. Yeah. She didn't look mean before, only determined. I agree. Yeah, she didn't look peeved. Did feminism back then include plucking your eyebrows and wearing thick makeup for the male gaze? Yeah, the original Rosie was a middle-aged woman and a little pudgy looking. Rosie the Riveter collar pin. Okay, let me search it. Pin. Okay. All right, so that one, it shows basically another image of Rosie the Riveter. This one just has kind of a sort of similar face, but it's not really exactly her. Okay, so it does say Westinghouse Electric. Oh, the bottom word is service. Some of them have dates and some don't. So basically she was wearing a pin of her own self. Oh, that's kind of strange. I mean, who wears a pin of their own self on their own? I don't know. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Because that's like, what's... Okay. So she poses for this, and you can't really know that it's going to be that big a deal long term. So when you pose for something, do you already have a pin of you posing for it? Do you see what I mean? It doesn't really make sense. I mean, did they add that on later? And if so, why? That's just kind of weird. Transparent windows are going back in time, but not using glass, but animal horn. Boiled, peeled, and then flattened into panes, and greased, oiled resin cloth paper. I've definitely heard of like them using like mica, but not boiled, peeled, flattened horn. That's weird. And you can make it translucent that way? I have not heard of that. Ugh. Internet, not good. I've like rebooted like 3 times today too, and it's not fixing it. Boiled, peeled horn for windows. Medieval windows made with horns. Natural building forum. I would love to see an image of these. I have heard of animal skin windows and other ancient techniques, According to the book Medieval Life, windows of ordinary people were made with horns that were soaked in water for 3 months, flattened, and assembled into a window pane that would let in some light. Definitely translucent and not in any way transparent. Oiled paper is often reported as something that our earlier homesteaders could use to let in a little light. The horn has a lot of layers, a bit like plywood, and the long soaking lets one separate the layers into very thin and transparent sheets. Isinglass can also mean large sheets of mica, which can be split fine enough to be quite transparent. It can be found naturally in pieces large enough. Yeah, mica is something I could imagine being used as windows. And you could probably like take chunks of squares of mica and caulk it together too. Mica can be quite clear. I mean, you're not going to totally see through, but it'd be like stained glass, like a whitish, clearish stained glass. The horn thing, now I've never heard of that. That's interesting. It's not her, but it's a girl with the head wrap. Either way, it's still weird. The head wrap looks like her. I mean, if I go to pose for some kind of camera thing, do I get a big fat pin of somebody who looks like me in my same pose and stick it on my neck? I don't know. It's just weird. She was cool, not aggro. Yeah, she just looked confident and determined. She didn't look peeved. So I don't really like the new picture that much. Okay, so good find, Remy Rodriguez. I totally agree with you on there. All right, this one is from Sapioit. Another good find. Ever heard of submarine aircraft carriers? Japan had them in World War II. So basically they could just, I mean, they were like submarines, but then they could float up and be aircraft carriers. Weird. Japan only had 4 big aircraft carriers in World War II for me originally. I've covered that before. There's more now on both sides. We had 4, they had 4. That's how it was for me. There was a big like documentary on it. I was a kid. I was kind of confused, but I knew that we had 4 and they had 4, and I had asked my brother about that. Like, okay, so everybody gets 4? And he's like, well, not really, you know, but they had 4 and we had 4, and we sank all 4 of theirs in the war, so we won. Well, you know, my brother didn't go over the bombings, but like the nukes, but a submarine aircraft carrier is a submarine equipped with aircraft for observation or attack missions. They saw their most extensive use during World War II, although their operational significance remained rather small. The most famous of them was the Japanese I-400 class submarines and the French submarine Surcouf, although small numbers of similar craft were built for other nations. So, yeah, look, there's a submarine with a seaplane on it. It's just, I don't know, whatever. I don't remember that. Okay, so speaking of weird planes, another one, tail sitting planes. This one's from Shari D. So apparently there's a bunch of planes that just sat on their haunches now. Tail sitter. Originating in the 1920s with the inventor Nikola Tesla. The first aircraft is to adopt a tail sitter configuration was developed by Nazi Germany during the Second World War. Development of such aircraft spiked during the 40s and 50s as aircraft designers and defense planners alike recognized the potential value of fixed-wing aircraft that could not only perform both a vertical takeoff and vertical landing, while also transitioning into and out of conventional flight as well. Inherent problems were poor pilot visibility and control difficulties. Okay, so I've said before that I don't remember rockets being able to kind of go straight up and then land in reverse. So apparently now we have a bunch of planes that could do that since World War II. That was kind of the thing with helicopters as being so beneficial, as they didn't need a runway. But now we have planes that did that. They just then back down. No. I totally disagree with that. Let's see what else ones I can find here. So yeah, I agree with you, Shari. I don't remember this tail sitter business. There's really not a lot of images of them. There's an interesting one. How does that thing even get off the ground? Looks more like a rocket than an aircraft. It's like a big fat rocket with tiny little wings. Yeah, not many images of these things. Not yet, anyway. I think we're going to see more of them. Oh, wait, there was one down there. Here. Another one. There's 2020 plus cool tail sitter ideas in 2020. That one looks similar to that one. There's an interesting one. Rhino 84. That looks like ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, I agree. Shari, I don't remember that. This is from Jay Emblin from 2020. So technically not a Mandela, but I don't really see how they didn't notice before that alligators can now regrow severed tails. Now, it used to just be little lizards and stuff, but now alligators can do it. Can grow back up to 9 inches of lost tail. Apparently, when they're smaller, I have a suspicion that this will change over time. All this time, we had no idea that they could regrow their tails, apparently. Whoa, wait a minute. I think I just saw a mouse one on there. Let's see if I can go back to images. I'm trying to see if mouse was included, because that would be different, but can't go straight there. What I need to do is look at view image. Tissue regeneration among widespread among vertebrates, providing survival and advantage, but some animals are more resilient than others. All right, so a mouse can regenerate skin and skeletal muscle, but not cartilage or bone. A clawed frog can regenerate skin, cartilage, and spinal cord, but not bone or muscle. So what? A green animal can regenerate spinal cord, and so can a mouse. Kind of. A mouse kind of can. Zebrafish can regrow skin and bone. Now that's interesting. I have not known of fish regrowing bone. And skeletal muscle and cartilage and spinal cord are dashes. I wonder what that means. Anyway, more stuff can regrow more stuff, basically. All right, this one is from Mark Tyus. Good find again, as you do so often find. We've seen some of these before. So it's basically like these pitcher plants. But this one is unique in that it has a reflexed lid here. So basically it's shaped like a toilet, and it has a toilet lid with the hinge right here, and it can close the lid. It's called Lowe's pitcher plant. One thing neat about it is it has sugary secretions up in here that attract animals. And not only does it look like a toilet, but apparently the design is designed to attract animals and have them poop in here. And then the poop is like its food. So it basically operates like a toilet too. But of course, right, there's another image of it. Not really large, at least not yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets bigger though. So basically we have like a toilet plant with a flexible lid that is designed to collect excrement from animals. Nature's own toilet, an upper pitcher. It even has kind of a weird, this one looks like it's growing a toilet seat too. If it gets a toilet seat lid, I mean, I don't even think I'd be surprised. Look, it almost has a toilet seat lid now. I mean, things are just too weird. Good find, Jay Emblin. There are videos about tail-sitting airplanes, though. Well, in this timeline, yeah, but those videos weren't necessarily in the other timeline. The Battle of Point Judas of the coast of Rhode Island is a new World War II thing. Chris Sinatra had a post about it on Facebook. The Battle of Point Judith. Oh, okay. So what do we have? A new attack on the East Coast during World War II now. is, I think, what you're telling me. Let's check it out. Battle Point Judith. The Battle Point is a popular name for a naval engagement fought between the United States and Nazi Germany during World War II on May 5 and 6. American surface combatants and 2 blimps sank a German U-boat off of Point Judith, Rhode Island, in one of the last actions of the Battle of the Atlantic. So originally in my timeline, none of the Nazis made it to America, but we're finding more and more of those showing up now in old timeline, in the histories. I think it kind of makes sense with the ocean shrinking and stuff. It's just getting easier and easier for Europeans to make it here. We used to have a lot of space that they had to travel, a lot of ocean that had to be traversed. With that shrinking, it's just easier to get across. The 75th anniversary of the Battle Point Judith. The destroyer attacked with more hedgehogs, causing large quantities of oil, life jackets, pieces of wood, other debris, air bubbles. Small state, big history. I'm just too sleepy to keep hunting that one down. But yeah, I agree. That's a new one. There's not that many attacks on the mainland. Originally, there were none. All right, I'm like half done. Suddenly, it got really cold in here, too. All right, this one is by Mark Tyus. There's a big string of them. This is just really weird. Just when I think we've come up with the weirdest bunch of sports, they come up with another one that you just can't make this stuff up. You will never invent this one. You will never think of this. So apparently there's a ear pulling contest. The Inuits do ear pulling, and there's like these countrywide contests. So basically, you put you put the string around the back of your ear, and then around the back of the other guy's ear, and then you pull, and then like whoever's either gives up or has the string flop off their ear wins. This, you see there's blood on his back of his ear from a previous pull. You just really can't make this up. All right.
It is.
I think I'll turn off the sound. So I'm just going to jump. Okay, so we have... And then he wins because he's pulled it off the other guy's ear. That's basically how it operates. Okay. That's just totally bizarre. That's the 2012 ear pulling contest. So I don't know, the old days when the grandpa would yank on your ear. Well, now it's actually a nationwide contest, originating in the Inuit tradition. I am in UK and it is stupid here. I assume you're talking about the lockdown, but yeah, my heart goes out. It's stupid here. Arizona is less stupid. They're not locked down. You can go in the restaurant, even in the inside. There is some mask mandates. it's kind of interesting to see what happened, that people are pretty much allowed to choose there. So there's a lot of places that aren't requiring masks and are just open. A few places there said that they were closed due to the sea, but most places were open. Some of the restaurants were requiring masks, but you could see the weirdest thing. Okay, people would have their mask on, and let's say this is the mask. Okay, they'd have their mask on, and it's kind of hard to have a conversation with a mask on because it kind of blocks sound and you can't see the lips moving. So what the waitresses would do is, if you're like, what, they'd actually get close to you, like you're not supposed to do that, right? But they get real close to you like it was a secret. And then they would pull their mask aside and then tell you the thing like, yeah, we have blah, blah special. And then they would put the mask back. And then it was just weird. I just laughed so hard because if you did that in California, people would have they would have a fit because you're getting right in their face and then yanking your mask aside. I saw more than one person do it, like 3 or 4 different people. The first time I just thought, well, maybe that person's just weird. But a bunch of the waitresses were doing it at different locations. So I don't know, I just had to laugh because it's like totally the one time you would probably say you should wear the mask would be when you're really close to the person, at least if, you're going to wear them at all. And that's when they would yank them aside. It was just, oh, Arizona, you don't make me laugh anymore. Stay positive, stay healthy, stressing out affects your immune system. Definitely. Also, a lot of evidence that vitamin D status, at least currently in the current timeline, vitamin D status very strongly affects outcome, or at least is very strongly correlated with outcome of the sea. So I do strongly suggest that everybody keep their vitamin D status up. Most of us don't go out in the sun much. It's the winter time. Most of North America, for me, most of North America used to get enough sun to be okay, but now we're pulled up closer to the North Pole. A lot of North America in the USA does not get sufficient sun to produce vitamin D in the winter, so deficiency is probably a lot higher here. I do suggest that everybody take your D. I mean, even if you want to say it's just a flu, if you want to say the sea's just a flu, the flu sucks. So, minimize outcome of flu problems, Definitely keep your D up. I think it's more of a thing here, needing the D. They're talking about the D being essential as a hormone, not just as a vitamin. And that is very influential in immune system. So I think, definitely consider supplementation, especially if you have dark skin. If you're not pasty white, you're going to have even more deficiency because remember in the old days, your ancestors probably lived in a very hot region near the equator and spent every day outside. So now if you have moved to North America where the sun is not as direct and you're not spending much time outside, you can very much be vitamin D deficient. Interestingly, the exact same groups that tend to be more vitamin D deficient are having worse outcomes with the C virus, and that's dark-skinned people and elderly. So they're saying if you're elderly, your skin has 2 times worse ability to produce vitamin D from the sun, and that most elderly are vitamin D deficient. So that might be how the story is lining up in the current timeline, is that the vitamin D deficiency is exactly correlated with those who have more risk factors for those who do the worst with the C. So definitely keep your D up, and and not just for the C virus, but just in general, you'll be healthier. Oh, I heard about ivermectin. It makes me wonder if the beer disease is a parasite. I'm not sure what the beer disease is, but ivermectin, yes, very strong evidence that it is effective for the sea. What food has zinc? I'm not sure. I'm not a big zinc expert. So one thing I like about vitamin D is it doesn't really interfere with any other vitamins. Zinc and some of the others are tricky because if you get too much of one, then it imbalances other ones. But D is not like that. You can get a lot of vitamin D. It's fairly safe. Don't go absolutely ridiculous, but. So Rona plague is now correlated with vitamin D deficiency. Yes. I was just watching a bunch of stuff on it. So evidence was that the Rona is a lot worse in the elderly, and the elderly have a lot worse D status in general. Dark-skinned people have worse D status and seem to have a worser outcome with the Rona. Also, all the areas near the equator tend to have less Rona problems. Basically, Rona tends to be a bigger problem the further from the equator you are, with the exception of countries that have strong vitamin D supplementation routines. So apparently certain countries tend to really push D supplementation. Even though they're further from the equator, those countries seem to be having less problems with the Rona. So that might be how it's stacking up. The whole storyline of the Rona, of the sea, has changed a lot. Originally, they were saying it was a respiratory disease. Now they're basically saying it's more of a circulation disease, and that it's not respiratory problem people that have to worry so much as cardiac problem people. So the story keeps on changing. I try to avoid trigger words. Yeah, that's why I often call it the sea. Magnesium, I find magnesium is very good. It's an anti-inflammatory, and all anti-inflammatories I think are likely helpful for the sea if you get it. Also, magnesium seems really important for the current timeline, so I do suggest that you take it. I have not seen any specific research or evidence for magnesium and the sea specifically, but it's not bad to have very good magnesium status. That's another one that most people are deficient on. There's only a few foods that really have much magnesium in them, and that's basically spinach and salmon. And you'd have to eat them every day, basically, to get your magnesium up. So, now they think about it, maybe that's why transparent, translucent windows are getting pushed back in time. Okay, so last I checked, the story though is that windows block too much of the UV to. If you're sitting by a window and get your sun that way, you're not going to get D. You have to be in it. Now you could have a screen because then the photons in the UV go right through the holes in the screen, but you can't go through a window. I'm giving B6 vitamin a try for inflammation and pain. Not sure yet. If you're having inflammation and pain, I definitely suggest DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. That stuff is very good for that. It is the strongest anti-inflammatory I know, that doesn't have a lot of side effects like say prednisone would. Most vegetables don't have nutrition anymore. I don't know. That story is changing constantly, but definitely the way they grow them, they're going to be have less vitamins, definitely. So yeah, see, zinc, I'm a little unsure about taking a lot of zinc just because I believe zinc is one of those that if you take too much, you could imbalance other vitamins, so it becomes more tricky. I will leave that to the experts. I'm not gonna. That would take a lot of research for me to really answer decently. Okay, another one from Mark Tyus. Now, this one's interesting that he brought it up because I had kind of seen some stuff that I had just had kind of gone viral images. So, scud clouds. What I had noticed is first there was those weird shelf clouds that are at the front of large storms, and I noticed that they were starting to get finger danglers. So apparently these finger dangler clouds off the shelf cloud are called scud clouds, like a scud missile, SCUD. And I had seen this. I'm like, the shelf clouds are getting dangle fingers. And so sure enough, right after I noticed that, Mark Tyus noticed this new thing called scud clouds. So they're like fringies. I mean, even the shelf clouds are weird to me, but they've been around a few years. So now we have these scud clouds on the shelf clouds. Not a lot of images of them. I think that will change. Look at that. Creepy. That doesn't even look real. I'd probably flip if I saw that in real life. It's like the end is nay. Look at that. See now? I'm just going to look up shelf cloud and see how many have the fingers. Shelf cloud. All right. So there, that one has fingers. That one kind of has fingers. Yeah, see, they're growing. This one has fingers. It's a wall cloud. The difference between a shelf cloud and a wall cloud. What is the difference? Maybe okay. I have not heard of a wall cloud. A shelf cloud is a long wedge-shaped cloud that forms on the leading edge of a squall line. Shelf clouds form as cold air within the storm rushes out, lifting warm air. As the warm air lifts, it condenses and shelf cloud forms. What you will experience in a shelf cloud moves toward you is very heavy winds and then rain and hail. The main threat with a shelf cloud is severe damaging winds. If you are looking at a wall cloud, you may notice vertical rotation, and sometimes they'll have a tail-like cloud attached to them known as an inflow tail. Also, while looking at a wall cloud, you'll notice strong winds at your back. If you think you are looking at a wall cloud, but the winds are at your face, probably not a wall cloud, or the storm is dying off. Examples of wall clouds and developing wall clouds can be found below. Well-defined wall cloud on storm near Canadian Texas. Canadian Texas. All right, so yeah, I never heard of that either. Always something new. All right, what is that thing on the thumbnail? It is a screaming, hairy armadillo. There's another one by Mark Tyus. Good find. Now, this is interesting because I only saw one really hairy-looking one. I don't remember there being a hairy armadillo still with the shell or whatever the heck it is. Most of them don't look that hairy, but I think that we'll see that change over time. There's definitely a variation in the amount of hair. So somehow these hairs are squeezing out through the shell here in varying amounts. Some of them you can hardly see any, but some there's a ton. I suspect that they'll get more hairy with time. So I put an image of a super hairy one up, which is this one. Ironically, it's stuffed, and I don't see any images of live ones being that hairy. This one is fairly hairy, though. So yeah, I don't remember hairy armadillos at all. Apparently, they like kind of scream when you grab them, so that's why they're called screaming hairy armadillos. Canadian, Texas. Yeah, I don't know if I've covered it, but there just seems to be a million different locations that have European names in the USA lately. That's why I was kind of laughing that that's another one. Be a rebel, grow garden, non-GMO, heirloom, open, pollinated, eat free forever. Yeah, you still got to pay for the water bill though, and I swear around here, the cost of water, you're almost better off just buying the food because the cost of water is so high. We are growing tomatoes, and the water bill, I mean, you spend an extra $100 watering them all summer. You could buy a lot of tomatoes with $100. So I kind of limited the garden locally. Also, the amount of labor that goes in. 20 to 30 mg zinc a day is fine. If you say so, I haven't really researched it. Some dreams are so real. I do think that the ability to remember dreams and the line between it is thinning. There's just there's a lot of just weird stuff that happens now. Weird coincidences like that the battery thing, my battery gets killed and I get towed straight to where my friend wanted to go. Of all places. And they were still open. And when we were pulling up, the tow truck driver even commented on it. The other thing was the tow truck driver was telling me that one of his relatives got died of a drug overdose, but they put the C on his death certificate. So of course the family doesn't complain because dying of the C looks a lot better than dying of a drug overdose. But I heard two more stories like that on my trip. Another one was somebody had gotten hit by a large truck and died of the impact injury and getting run over. And that guy also got C on the death cert. They said he tested positive, and if you test positive, it doesn't matter if you get run over by a truck, you died of the C. A few nights ago, I had a message dream about how to stay synchronous with the Holy Spirit. So how? What's the secret? Cough it up. All right, so next. This one's weird. Another one from Mark Tyus. Good find. So I've been saying, and he also is saying, both Mark Tyus and I have been saying that we think that the surface tension of water is stronger. There's another example of it. See, which one did I click on? All right, I'm going to use this one because hopefully I won't get a copyright against her. Basically, if you take like a water bottle and you just plop a ping pong ball on the, so you take the lid off so it's open, and you just set a ping pong ball on the top, and then you turn the water over, the water won't come out. So somehow, like, the water sucks in on the ping pong ball. Now, you would think that the water all just oop out and immediately push the ping pong ball out, And once the weight of the water pushed the ping pong ball out a bit, then air could get in and the whole thing would just continue. But I don't quite get how, but somehow the water grabs the ping pong ball and doesn't let it go, and the ping pong ball acts as a blockade. And even if the ping pong ball is kind of floating on the top of that water and is not even all the way down in the mouth, this will still happen. So it's pretty strange. So basically she can just pluck that off, and so there's definitely video on it. This, I haven't tried this because I just saw it. I believe these guys do a bunch of experiments on it. All right, so they've got some glass ones. Some of these have kind of a larger mouth too. So like this one, the ball is floating a little bit free in there. It's not like wedged in. But when he flips that puppy over, it still holds. It actually sucks the ping pong ball in and holds. Okay, so that's pretty weird. I'm not going to play the video because I'll get a copyright strike. And you could even kind of poke them, like the balls a little bit, and some of the water will drizzle out the side, but the ball will still... You have to poke it pretty hard before it actually comes out and lets all the water out. So yeah, I just never heard of that before. David can at night while lying in bed. Sometimes people can see mandalas, shapes with their eyes open. Sometimes when I sleep, I will see some kind of geometric pattern, like when I'm waking up. One time when I was really sick in the 90s, I saw like just hexagon patterns in my, like kind of an overlay of hexagon patterns. So yes, there's been times, I don't know if that's a mandala, but I just call it like a geometric patterns. It's not just in a circle, it's just like everything. Oh, people are now making taps by using a pin to make a small hole, and to get it to fall, you open the cap slightly. Okay, not sure on that one. No wonder that lately I can hear the boiler from the tap on the almost complete opposite side of the house. Crochet, sewing, planting, reading, musical instruments, and painting are great ways to steady your mind. I don't know about crochet, but some of those, I think the ones that basically you have that inner monkey mind that yammers. And if you do something that kind of occupies that with some kind of repetitive thing, you get a little break from the monkey yammer. It's kind of like a meditation thing almost, because you just... it occupies your brain. You can't torture yourself anymore. I had a couple of times dreams in Italian language, and I had conversations. Lately I dream in English. The dreams are getting wild. I've had some dreams where I spoke Spanish really good, and I don't speak Spanish really good in real life. I kind of suck, but... So yeah, a lot of people find that kind of just relaxing if you can silence the yammer. I have to watch this. Sometimes I just feel like I got to get stuff done, and so I've got like this stress, like it's taking too long. So I have to let go of that in order to enjoy it. When I was a teenager, I used to be able to get quiet and see what would happen with different decisions. I make this choice with this outcome or another choice with another outcome. I outgrew it. Um, I think what you can do probably still is, okay, say you've got something ahead of you, a project, a trip, or there's a problem brewing. Try to feel out the energy, and then try to pave it with like a positive outcome, minimal problems. There's like a feel around, and you can feel different routes, and some of them feel very like a bunch of problems and hassle, and feel around for one that feels like the least hassle and the most positive outcome, and kind of like soak up the, when you find that, soak up the feeling and really just go, okay, I picked this one. I picked this one where the problems get solved. Maybe it'll look a little trouble for a while, but the problems are going to just evaporate. They're going to be minimal. Things are going to go good. You're going to be happy with the outcome. I especially do that if I'm kind of in a pickle, if there's some kind of problems. Just, okay, the car's broke down. It's not starting well. Imagine, feel around for the route where it gets fixed fast, the problem's not that big a deal, or some kind of lucky thing happens. You don't have to pay that much. It works out good. Feel around for that feeling, and I think you can influence things that way. It really does seem like you can. I can't speak or understand Italian. That's why it's interesting. I've definitely had a few experiences where, like, there was a part of me that understood all the languages, like a super, super smart part, like a higher self thing or something. Really liked the languages, understood them all, compared them. So I wouldn't at all be surprised if such is possible in a certain mental state. All right, so where am I? Okay, this is another one by Mark Tyus. Big fin squid. It looks like a jellyfish. Very strange little beast. I have not seen a squid of this type before. It's got Jillian foot long feet, kind of a Dumbo top. I think that's a Mandela. Have you ever seen a squid like that? A jellyfish, maybe, but not a squid. There's another one of it. Pacifica big fin squid. Here's a close-up of it. It looks, I don't know what it looks like. A combination of a funky insect, some streamers, a Dumbo squid, and I don't know what all. So I guess it's this thing here. This is the what do you call it? The big fin squid. I guess the things on the top are the big fins, because it's more like a streamer squid to me, but there's another image of it. Just, I don't know, just weird. Okay, so yeah, I agree. I don't remember seeing that. Okay, this one is, it's cute little birdies, not. Okay, so now we've got this thing called defensive vomiting. And it started out as just like vomit, but now these fulmar chicks vomit a sticky orange oil at the predator. The oil glues feathers to stop flight, and later, so basically this sticky orange special vomit from these birds gets on other birds' feathers and makes them no longer waterproof. So they when they go on the water later, they'll sink and die. So basically, these fulmar chicks can kill the predator by shooting this stinky vomit on him. I'm not going to play the video because I'll probably get a copyright, but basically they shoot it like little bombs too. It's like blah blah blah, like it's like a machine gun fire blobs. When I saw the video, that's how it looked. And this one shows a big streamer of the stuff. But what I saw was that they were able to kind of shoot it like bullets, like little packages of it. And then they're saying that if the mother smells a vomit, then they'll be cautious when they return to the nest because they'll be alerted that a predator had been there recently and might still be around. So it adds a secondary benefit that it alerts the parents to be careful. So basically these little chicks have like this, they can kill with their vomit and win the day. Pretty interesting. So birds and insects do it. Now supposedly the birds are believed to get the vile stuff out of their consumption of grasshoppers. And they're saying that grasshoppers also have a defense of vomiting. Actually, I should check that out. Most species of grasshoppers vomit a repugnant bitter bile that's slightly acidic. They do this when handled by a predator. It's a last resort, and you don't really want to eat me. I taste bad defense. Petting, yelling, or simply seeing a predator did not prompt the regurgitation. Also, these like roller birds do it. So I've never heard of grasshoppers doing this. I've handled them. I don't recall them ever vomiting on me. Something you wouldn't really forget if you handled it and it barfed on you all the time. You would just know not to handle them. Grasshoppers, katydids, crickets, and lubbers in general vomit pretty much whenever they're scared. They'll puke on you if you're just picking them up. No, I don't recall that ever being the case. I'll tell you, in recent years, I don't pick up any bugs that I used. There's a lot of bugs I used to pick up and just toss aside. I don't do it anymore because a lot of things that didn't used to be able to bite now can bite. For instance, I just heard that you could get bit by a daddy longlegs, and I used to pitch those aside all the time. Now I won't be doing that. All right, let's see, Reddit. Crickets must have changed like that because cricket meat became more popular. Apparently it's fairly easy but time-consuming to find cricket species which taste like different things. Grasshoppers spit tobacco juice. Crickets now apparently taste like chicken and fish among the most popular ones. I don't know, maybe we're working it out so we won't eat like large animals anywhere. Yeah, so daddy longlegs, they said that there was some kind of Mythbusters episode where he stuck his hands in there to see if they were venomous, and one of them was able to bite him, and there was mild swelling. The research showed they were not horribly venomous, but there was enough for, a little bit of a response. And it actually was able to bite him. So in my old timeline, they weren't able to bite people. But a lot more insects can bite people now. So be careful. Like, earwigs didn't used to be able to bite people, but now they can. And draw blood, I might add. I dreamt of searching and finding a video on YouTube, but I woke up and immediately searched the name of the video, but I couldn't find it. I've definitely had stuff like that where there's some kind of name or word that seemed really important. I Google it and I can never find it. Almost never. In fact, you would think occasionally with all the stuff on Google that, at least half the time I would find it. But no, I don't know if it's different timelines. 20 years from now, it'll be in there, or it was just symbolic. I don't know, but that happens a lot. A week ago, I had a conversation dream with someone, and the word "slive" was in it. I figured out it's a real word. You're doing better than me. Is most of the time I look that stuff up, and nope. A lot of huge spiders, almost like tarantula. Yep, nowadays. Why doesn't anything get nicer? Tigers that eat flowers. Alligators have gotten nicer. They can be like pets. There's images of people riding them like horsies. So a few things got nicer. But yeah, not so many of them. Still kind of gross. All right. All right, Reddit. Ooh. This one just got submitted. Let's see. Will Work for Answers has a lot. Baby starts walking immediately after birth. That would be a trip. When a midwife tried to bathe the baby, she apparently stood up and attempted to walk on her own. Yeah, I agree with Will Work for Answers. Used to be they could even hold their head up. It is kind of dangling on her arm, but still, that's... But, I've said before, they have way more gripping strength than it used to be. Babies used to be fairly helpless, but now they can hang on you. They can swim, they can roll on their back, and apparently now they can walk, or almost walk. Some have said the video just shows a primitive reflex that babies have from birth. Where they walk if held up and their feet are touching a surface. Okay, don't know about that one. Have not heard of that one anyways. Wonder when we'll get vegan egg whites and vegan egg yolks. Wouldn't be surprised. That's not the weirdest taste to reproduce. On the other hand, alligators can climb trees. Yeah, that's been on. Yeah, definitely. Way back in the day, people used to ride giant carp. Okay, I've never heard of that before. Okay, well, I don't think we really have evidence of it, but fish are getting really big, so it might be in future timelines. For now, I think it's still legend, though. All right, so let's get back to what I was trying to do, which was go to old Reddit. Find my subreddits. Because there's something on one of them. Okay, I saw this. This is from Will Work for Answers. Username Will Work for Answers. Finds a lot on Reddit. I did see this like last week, I think. Was very suspicious that it was a Mandela, but I was busy and I wasn't sure. But now that second person has chimed in that they also think it's a Mandela, put it up there. Okay, so see, these are all birds up here. Let me make this larger. And they're all flying, like, not just... So I had V formations in my old timeline, but they would be good V formations. They wouldn't be all scraggly like this. So basically, they're just flying every which way, like weird character scribbles in the sky or something. Just really weird. So many of them all in different patterns, going different directions. Thought that was really interesting. Good find Will Work for Answers. I think that's all I wanted to do from that. I think that was it. Oh, this is the other one. 1/3 of U.S. rivers turned green. So there's an article, this is also from Will Work for Answers, that 1/3 of U.S. rivers have turned green. I'm really suspicious about that. They say they don't know why. The Mandela does like its colors in the rivers, so it might just be that. Because that's really bright. So that's what they're saying. 1/3 of rivers have done that. Okay, so get used to seeing green rivers, I guess. All right, another one from a user on Retcon called Darkle CC Man. I don't know, is it Dark CC Man or Darkle CC Man? Kind of bad. I'm so sloppy at writing. Anyways, the elephant's man's real name, was it Joseph Merrick or John Merrick? What was his real name? Or some other thing, but those are the two main ones that people are looking at. John Merrick, Joseph Merrick. What was the real name? And while you do that, I'll look this one up. All right, so this one's not really a Mandela because it's supposed to be brand new, but I'm very suspicious of the storyline here. Saw this about a week and a half ago. Drug reverses age-related mental decline within days. Rapid rejuvenation of mental faculties in aged mice implicates reversible physiological blockage behind age-related cognitive losses. So this would totally flip the story on its head. We're kind of taught that the brain declines over time. We're less efficient. Memories are lost. It's just, wear and tear on the system, basically. But this flies completely in the place of that. They give you this drug, and suddenly your brain operates like it was young again. Totally reverses all your old bad memory and slowness and everything that older people experience magically, boom, disappears. So now it's just like you just needed a little bit more of something, or it's a whole different storyline. The drug called ISRIB has already been shown in laboratory studies to restore memory function months after traumatic brain injury, reverse cognitive impairments in Down syndrome, prevent noise-related hearing loss, fight certain types of prostate cancer, and even enhance cognition in healthy animals. So is this like the miracle drug? So it's only been tested in animals, though. I don't. Is there an animal version of Down syndrome? In the new study published December 1 in the open access journal eLife, researchers showed rapid restoration of youthful cognitive abilities in aged mice, accompanied by rejuvenation of brain and immune cells that could help explain improvements in function. Anyways, I don't know if this is going to pan out or what, but this is pretty bizarre. If it does, so I thought I'd bring it up. Now, seagulls fly V formations too. Yeah, I don't remember seagulls doing that, actually. I don't recall Ireland located above England. It was always to the left. Yeah, I do remember it to the left. It would be interesting to get a panoramic of the bird's flight to see what they're outlining, drawing, or painting. You know, it looked like it was just pretty random when I watched the video. Some are going this way, blah, 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 and it just kind of looks like that the whole time. Has anyone noticed very minor Emmys, like slight food changes in your fridge? I've noticed like stuff at work, like a little more product, some stuff missing, other stuff showing up. Like I thought I had a whole extra bag of it and I have none, and then something where I thought I had none, I'll have a bag of it. Or we were out of it for a long time and suddenly there's a bag of it back there. Stuff like that I've definitely noticed. Okay, so a lot of people remember it being John Merrick as the real name of the Elephant Man, but in this time it was always Joseph Merrick. Interestingly, they'll say John Merrick is a common misconception. How did everybody just get his name wrong is beyond me, but I think that was a different timeline, basically. No more John Merrick, it's Joseph Merrick. Okay, and I have one more. I went pretty fast this week. Woohoo! All right. For those of you who are kind of online, this one came out of nowhere for me about a year ago. I started hearing about the video called My Pet Goat. So I'll show, I discussed this one for some other reason recently. So it's basically an animation that kind of deals with symbolic representations of current events and situations that that society may be in. So what's weird is that I remember it as My Pet Goat. I learned it as My Pet Goat. And it was named after when Bush Jr., the president, was at a school when 9/11 happened, and he just stayed there for a while and didn't like do anything, and then finally left the school. Okay, so there's been a lot of shifts in what he was doing at the school, but in recent times it had been that he was helping read from a book, and the book in recently for me was called My Pet Goat. And so since Bush and other politicians feature prominently in this video, they called it My Pet Goat. But now it's not My Pet Goat. I don't know how many of you remember My Pet Goat, but I remember the book that Bush was reading was called My Pet Goat, and the video on the animation that was written after it was also called My Pet Goat. It all made perfect sense. But now the video is called I Pet Goat 2. Pet Goat 2. And that's just wrong. It wasn't. It was my. But now it's I Pet Goat 2. So why is it I Pet Goat 2? I looked and I can't find any Pet Goat 1, I Pet Goat 1, My Pet Goat 1. There is no 1. So I thought, well, maybe the 1 is the original book. In this timeline, it would be the book that Bush was reading from would be I Pet Goat 1. But I looked that up, and the book he was reading now is called The Pet Goat. So there would not be an I Pet Goat 1 because it was The Pet Goat. The Pet Goat Wiki. The Pet Goat. Often erroneously called My Pet Goat. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it was called My Pet Goat. So now it's just a common misconception. Is a grade school level reading exercise composed of American educationalist Siegfried Zig Engelman. Achieved notoriety for being read by U.S. President George W. Bush with a class of second graders on the morning of September 11, 2001. After being discreetly informed of the December 11 attacks midway through the reading, Bush waited quietly for the reading to finish before dealing with the unfolding crisis. The episode features prominently in the retrospective assessment of Bush's response to the September 11 attacks. Okay, so it's called The Pet Goat in this timeline. And then the video is called I Pet Goat 2. And they recently released an I Pet Goat 3. But absolutely no sign of an I Pet Goat 1 or a My Pet Goat 1. So, big fat Mandela for me. It was My Pet Goat, damn it. It was My Pet Goat, and he was holding it upside down. Oh, interesting. No, it was no upside downies for me. Wait until we get I Pet Goat 4 without any Pet Goat 3. I don't know. I'm so glad you remember My Pet Goat because that's what it was. Okay. Go-Kart Bob remembers one Pet Goat. Heart's Truth remembers My Pet Goat. Shari D remembers My Pet Goat, and he was holding upside down. Heart's Truth remembers John Merrick, not Joseph Merrick. Oh, that's interesting about the upside downs. I don't remember the upside downs for me. Bush was actually at the school trying to learn to read. There is My Pet Goat 3 out. Yes. Yes. Shari, it was you mentioning My Pet Goat 3. I mean, it's you mentioning that made me look and see that it had changed its name. Creek Mary 1 is My Pet Goat. So, yeah, Shari had mentioned that there was the 3 out, and that's when I'm like, wait, that's not the name of it. And that's how it starts. And then it was click, 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 click on the internet. No, wait, this is not that. All right, so I'm coming down the home stretch here. Yeah, there were some photos with the book normal and some with the book upside down. Yeah, I don't remember the upside down one. That's interesting. I mean, that would be huge if he was reading it upside down. The upside down book was a different one called Ame on the same day. I don't remember diddly about an upside down book though, and that's kind of huge. Next up, You Pet Goat. I don't know. I mean, I, comma, Pet Goat 2. That's a weird name. Why the I, comma, Pet Goat? It would kind of make sense if it was the name of the book, but it's not. The day after 9/11, Bush said on the news, we need to make a global organization against terrorism. GOAT. Oh, that is interesting. All right, Google. All right, let's look. Bush reads The Pet Goat, I believe is the correct term for this timeline. Like tell if it's right side up or not. I'm trying to see if it is. The barcode's at the bottom. I think. All right, there's the upside down that was discussed. This photographs President Bush reading book upside down. Did George Bush really read book upside down? So it looks like it's Ame that he read upside down in current timeline. Interesting, some residual, My Pet Goat. Even though the name of the book was not that and the name of the video was not that. Basically, there's nothing that had the name My Pet Goat, but yet he's got it written there. Very interesting. All right, so is it legit? Let's check out Snopes and just see what it has to say. Does this photograph show President Bush reading a book upside down? The book shown in this photograph is America, a Patriotic Primer by Lynn Cheney. Cheney, huh? False. This may be a funny picture, but even if it were real, it would still just be a funny picture. If it weren't a manipulated image, it could have come about by cousin Aide handed the book to President for a quick schoolroom photo opportunity. The president immediately noticed it was upside down because he was looking at the student to his right, and the photographer managed to snap a picture before the error was corrected. It may also be possible that the book President Bush and the student were holding had removable dust jacket type covers, but the cover of the president's copy had been put on backwards, so it looked as if he was holding the books upside down. I don't think these are dust jackets, though. I mean, usually there's kind of a floppy front inside part, and I don't see it. This photograph shows some telltale signs of digital editing. So the real explanation is that someone took an existing picture and flipped the image of the book. Note, for example, that the picture on the back of the book in the student's hands and the one in the book the president is holding are reverse of each other. A dead giveaway that the image was manipulated. Okay, so they're saying this image here does not line up with this one. Because if you flip this book around, then this dark blob would end up on this side. And this red one would be way over here. So there's something fishy about this whole image then. So signs of manipulation. Actually, that's a pretty good argument. I don't generally trust Snopes, but the picture above was taken during an appearance President Bush made with Governor of Texas at the George Sanchez Charter School in Houston during summer of 2002. There's the correct one. All right. Well, actually, I don't blindly trust Snopes, but it is a pretty good argument. Let's see what we got here. Bush reads books upside down. Now, let's just look at it and make sure that what Snopes claimed is what actually is visible on the image. Okay, yeah. All right, I have to agree with that. It does look digitally. Because this would not, if this book is truly upside down, then when it flipped, this image would have to match up with that one, and it doesn't. All right. Not to say it wasn't totally legit in another timeline, because it may well have been. I don't remember it, though, for me. Oh, yeah, you're right. I do remember a bunch of black students. But I honestly don't remember him having like a whole press conference from the school. For me, he was reading this book. He was whispered in his ear what happened. He kind of sat there like a lump on the log for a while until finally he got up and left. But then he just left the school. But in this timeline, last I checked, he had like a press conference from the school with the children and everything. That did not happen in my original timeline. He didn't stay at the school. Once he kind of made up his mind, he left. So that's weird for me, but that's an older ME. Fact checkers are the most clueless. I pretty much read what they have to say and I evaluate it. Because sometimes fact checkers sound legit and other times you just see a giant bunch of holes in their argument. So you just have to take it case by case. The one thing the fact checkers often do is they give me the source. Like if you go to Snopes, a lot of times it'll give you the source of the story, and you can go and you can look at that yourself. You can find the original image, things like that. When you're evaluating, it's kind of convenient for everything to be linked for you. I block the fact checkers on a daily Facebook. Preliminal, remember, is my pet goat. So fact checkers now are basically like narrative protectors quite often, especially when it comes to Facebook, Twitter. Scientists and epidemiologists are getting blocked off of YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, even when they're just talking about published research studies. If you like, Fox News can get up and say all kinds of stuff and they won't get censored, but if you got up on YouTube and said the exact same thing as Fox News, you would get censored. So that's not right. If Fox can say it, you should be able to say it, but no. Can Bush read? I wasn't like a big fan of Bush, but he wasn't that stupid. I'm sure he could read. I mean, I do think he was a puppet. Cheney may well have been his handler, but he wasn't a total moron. I think it was just, a pretty face. But I do think he could read. I'm not going to accuse stuff that seems unlikely. The background looked totally different. Yeah, that it's older and me's all the changes of 9/11. There's a lot of them for me. I do remember a lot of black kids in there, though. I don't remember this other dude sitting here either. Like here. I don't remember this guy. They were alone. Him and the child were kind of at the front of a classroom by themselves. This dude wasn't there, so I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I don't know. 9/11 is always changing. I could go on and on. Spanish Morocco. Oh, is that one of those other weird little enclaves that are popping up everywhere? Spanish Morocco. No. I don't know about Spanish Morocco. All right, so I guess this is Spanish Morocco. And that has something to do with Cape Juby? What? And there's these little other things? Okay. So what, Morocco has a bunch of weird little prefectures or something? The Spanish protectorate in Morocco was established in 1912 by a treaty between France and Spain. All right, so a bunch of weird little regions again. Oh, there's two of them. I do remember something being next to Spain, but it looks like there's one on the bottom now too. Check out that image. I remember there being some weird extra section here, but it was only half that size, and there was not that green one on the bottom. That was not there. Consisted of a northern strip on the Mediterranean and the Strait of Gibraltar and the southern part of the protectorate around Cape Juby. That must be that bottom one. The northern zone became part of independent Morocco on September 7, 1956, shortly after France had ceded its protectorate, French Morocco. Spain finally ceded its southern zone through Treaty of Angre de Sintra, 1958, after the short Ifni War. The city of Tangiers was excluded from the Spanish protectorate and received a special internationally controlled status as Tangier International Zone. Since France already held a protectorate over the entire country and controlled Morocco's foreign affairs, it was held the power to delegate a zone to Spanish protection. The surface area of the zone was 20,000 kilometers squared, which represents 4.68% of modern-day Morocco. What exactly special consideration meant was dealt with in the secret third and fourth articles, specifying that Spain would be required to recognize Articles 4 and 7 of the treaty, but could decline the special consideration if she wished. Ah. Okay. All right. As of 2021, Morocco still claims Ceuta and Melilla as integral parts of the country and considers them to be under foreign occupation, comparing their status to that of Gibraltar. Spain considers both cities integral parts of Spanish geography. So we've covered this one. It's Ceuta and Melilla as parts of Spain and Morocco. That one I have covered. When I was looking at weird protectorates and stuff, since they were parts of Spain for centuries before the occupation of Morocco. What I don't know is this Gibraltar business. Gibraltar is a British overseas territory located in the southern tip of Iberian Peninsula. A British overseas territory. Do you remember Gibraltar being a British overseas territory? The landscape is dominated by the Rock of Gibraltar, at the foot of which is a densely populated town area. Okay, so this is what I was talking about 2 weeks ago, that I don't remember Gibraltar. Originally, first of all, the Rock of Gibraltar was out in the sea by itself in the Straits of Gibraltar, in the Strait of Gibraltar. But now it's a peninsula, and it's a built-up area around Gibraltar is the most recent ME, but apparently it's also a British overseas territory now. So I don't remember that being a thing either. So I call baloney on that one. I think we should focus on the best possible outcome. Yeah, I think definitely I've got to work more on that. There's always routes through where there's less problems. Focus more on those, feeling them out energetically, manifesting those, that kind of deal. Gibraltar should be back to be a rock in the strait. Yeah, nope, not anymore. Yeah, apparently, according to that treaty, Spain actually owns the other side of the strait, but it expanded and there wasn't the bottom part. I don't remember that other guy either. Yeah, on the book reading there. The other dude is a new addition. Okay. Shari doesn't remember him either. He was sitting alone. I just remember him and a child, and I don't remember that child. I remember a skinnier, darker skinned male child. All your presidents are puppets. Well, probably some just look more puppety than others. I mean, no doubt, but... Okay, anyway, that's about it. I remember Mutual of Omaha get a piece of the rock. Advertised with picture of Rock of Gibraltar. Yeah, it was standing by itself out in the ocean then. There was no densely populated area on Gibraltar. Yeah, it was a rock by itself. More puppety. some may have different puppet masters. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Um, there's no honor among thieves, so it may be that there's quite a bit of infighting. Um, but basically, they're going to agree on stuff that maybe is better for corporations, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's often the downfall of like the evil empire, is that bad people don't work together well. They're too greedy. They just can't be satisfied. They always want more and more and more. Constant backstabbing. It's hard to be an effective team when you're just stabbing each other in the back all the time. So they tend to just overreach and fall apart. So maybe that is still happening. Okay, anyways, that's about it for me. It's been 2.5 hours. Covered a lot of Mandelas. So I think it's time for me to go. Thank you guys all for coming. Got a lot of good stuff from you guys this week in the comments. A lot of the Mandelas came from you guys, so very much appreciate that. Thanks, good thoughts, everyone. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Did it end? It just kind of seems like it didn't. I know I pushed the... Oh. And... Okay.